Well, welcome back to Keeping It Real with Sue. Today my video is going to be about the next step in my journey with achalasia. I was diagnosed with achalasia in March or the end of February, and since then I had surgery. After they came back and told me I had achalasia type 2, I was struggling big time to eat, and I did mention some of that in my last video, but I will be honest with you, I went from every time I ate and drank, sometimes there was times when I would go 30-40 hours without being able to keep anything down, and I would regurgitate everything that I ate. So after my husband and I went on a trip to visit some of our kids in South Dakota, Missouri, and some friends along the way, we realized that when I got back from there, I needed to get a hold of a doctor. And so thankfully there was a PA that saw me, and my biggest question was, I wasn't even sure who the surgeon was going to be, that they had recommended that I have this surgery. So I wanted to make sure before we continued to wait for that surgeon that I was going to be seeing the right surgeon. And sure enough, she looked up his qualifications, and he was a GI surgeon, which is what I needed. There's two different surgeries they talk about when you have achalasia. There is the Heller Myotomy, and there's the usually it goes with a fundoplication wrap, either a door or a toupee wrap. And the difference in the fundo wraps are, that's what causes you not to have the GERD issues after the surgery. Because what is happening in this surgery, whether you have the Heller Myotomy or there's another surgery, and I'll just talk about that for a second too, it's called the POEM. There's a big long name for it, but most people just say it's the POEM surgery. And the thing about the POEM surgery is often with that surgery and with the Heller Myotomy, what they're going to do is they're going to go in and they're going to open the bottom of your esophagus up. And with achalasia, what happens is the bottom of your esophagus is closed. So all of your food just stays right here. So every time you eat, you regurgitate, and it's kind of like throwing up, but it's only the food in your esophagus that you throw up. So thankfully it's not the acids. I actually had my teeth cleaned a couple days before my surgery, and thankfully I didn't have any damage done to my teeth with all that throwing up. It was really just getting out everything that you put in. So they recommended that I go see a surgeon, and that surgeon, once he found out that I did have achalasia, was rather quick to call me. I had an appointment set up with him within a week and a half, which was way sooner. Originally, the soonest I could get in was not even until the end of May. So I wouldn't even had my original appointment with him. But he had a phone appointment with me, and then I think I mentioned in my last video, he did a series of questions and said, we're going to get you in for this surgery sooner than later. And so he said 4 to 6 weeks, and I was like, whoa, I was kind of shocked that it was going to be so quick. But he said, this is a needed surgery. It's not like some surgeries are needed, but not as dire as this achalasia surgery. So I chose the Heller Myotomy with the fundo wrap over the POEM because I have been a part of a couple different support groups now on Facebook talking about different procedures and things for people with achalasia. And so from what I've heard, the POEM surgery usually has to be done again and again, and then eventually a lot of those people that have that surgery, even though it does help, end up having the other surgery, the Heller Myotomy. I know I'm saying that wrong, but that's okay. It's a very hard word to say. So I had that scheduled for May 12th. So I had it a week ago. Today is a week later on Thursday, and I just wasn't sure what to expect. You know, you can ask all the questions, and they ask you, do you have any more questions? And sometimes you don't even know questions to ask. But for me, I had chosen that surgery. So when I went in and talked to the surgeon before, he told me that 3 days prior to that surgery, I would have to go on a clear liquid diet. And that was no fun. Can I just be honest with you? I mean, it's the whole journey has been just one hard thing after another. But clear liquid diet is like broths, clear drinks, and nothing with dyes, like no purple dyes or red dyes. So it had to be that way. And then after the surgery, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, but I'm still on a liquid diet, but now it's pourable, so I can have liquids that are not necessarily clear. So like this morning, I'll just give you an example. I had cooked some oatmeal, and then I blended it with some special milk that had some higher vitamins and calories in it. So my surgery day, we had to be at the hospital at 7:45. We knew the surgery wasn't scheduled to start until 9:30, but then of course they didn't even take me back there until about 10:30. And that was scary. I'm not gonna lie. It was very uncomfortable. I was awake. They had started an IV in my arm before I went back there, but the anesthesiologist had come back and said they were gonna put an arterial line in my arm. And to be honest with you, I don't even know if you can see it, but I still have a nasty bruise. And we're talking 9 days past the surgery now, but that bruise was so bad and it hurt. But that was from the arterial line, so that they didn't have to have a blood pressure cuff on me, I guess. After they put me out, which was completely crazy, I just going into that operating room, it's just scary knowing they're gonna cut you open, and just all the things they tell you before the surgery. It's like, you could possibly have your esophagus perforated. And there's been a person or two that have died during the surgery. So it's not a little surgery, and the surgery lasts close to 4 hours. And what they do is they, thankfully it was laparoscopically done. They go down inside your esophagus and they open up the bottom of your esophagus, and they put pins in there, I guess. And then they cut through. I have 5 cuts in my tummy area that they cut through to go up and do the fundoplication wrap. So after they put me to sleep, they put in a urinary catheter, which I woke up with. That was not comfortable at all, but I'm glad I had it because they were putting fluids in me. Like, I think the day after my surgery, I had gained 6 pounds just from fluids being put in me through an IV. But I had to have that because after the surgery, you can't not drink or eat anything until the next day when you have a swallow study done. So I got up that next day. That night, I woke up. I didn't even wake up until I was in my room, and I don't even remember what time that was. But thankfully, my husband got a chance to talk with the surgeon, and the surgeon said everything went well. Took a little bit less time than they thought. It was under 4 hours. He did ask if I cheated in eating, and I hadn't. So that meant that food had been there for I don't know how long, but they found food in my esophagus, which is normal for this kind of procedure. So I got back to, they checked me into the surgery floor. I woke up, and they ended up giving me some meds shortly after I woke up. And to be honest with you, the pain that I had, it was just like right here. Oh, it was just horrible pain. Because I guess what they do is they fill you up with gas so they can see your organs and move things easier. So that pain that I had was, excruciating. So they ended up giving me some morphine that night that helped, and I slept. And then I woke up in the middle of the night, and I was in a lot of pain in there. Like, rate your pain. And, I have a high pain tolerance. So to be honest with you, I've had 7 children with very little meds. So I have a high pain tolerance, but it had to be at least a 7 to get the heavy duty stuff. So they said, we're just gonna put you down at 7. They gave me some meds, and then the next morning they came in and they said, we're gonna send you down for a swallow study. And that was horrible. The first thing I got to drink or eat or anything after my surgery was barium liquid, and oh my gosh, it just tasted terrible. But you know what? Good news. My swallow worked, and it looked good, and actually they saw that what I swallowed went all the way down to my small intestine, which is just amazing because before the surgery, things weren't going past my esophagus. So it was very rarely that any food would get to my stomach. So that day I did that study, and then the nurse came back and I said, what do I need to do to get out of here? And she's like, well, you have to eat at least 2 meals. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I can't eat. And so they brought me in some broth, which I could swallow just fine, and then they brought me some applesauce and some Jello. So that's quite an interesting meal, but I did it all. And then for my next meal, they brought me in, what was it? Some kind of fluid that I had to drink. I don't remember, but I was out of the hospital close to 4:30ish or so, and then I'd been prescribed some medications. They sent me home with liquid Tylenol, kids Tylenol, believe it or not, and oxycodone. And I told them, I said, I don't think I'm going to need that. And then she's like, well, you should just take it. The person that signed my discharge papers. So I went home with that and just kind of took it easy the rest of the night, went to bed. That night I did wake up in quite a bit of pain. So I did take some Tylenol. And the next day I was okay. I mean, I got up, I walked around, I just heard. And I will tell you this, that if you have achalasia, you have surgery, the more you can get up and the more you can walk, the better it is. So I just tried to get up as much as I could. Oh, sorry. There we go, we're moving. But, and so I just got up and walked as much as I could. But then that night I woke up, I would say in the middle of the night, and I was in a lot of pain. So I actually smashed up one of those oxycodones. I had to take it with applesauce because you can't swallow pills at all right now. I can't swallow anything with chunks in it. So I did that, and that was the only time I took one of those. And the next day I just, once again, took it easy, but I went for just a tiny walk outside. Just for me, getting outside of my house, it does more for me than anything else. So, and since then, I have only taken Tylenol once. Thankfully, the pain hasn't been bad. I've had some other challenges, but it hasn't been terrible. I think the hardest part of this whole thing, for me, it hasn't been necessarily the pain, but it's been the fact that I can only drink. I can't eat anything. They call it pourable liquids with no chunks. So for now, almost going on 2 weeks tomorrow, I will have been on a liquid diet, and I could only blend soups. Thankfully, I had made a lot of soups ahead of time. I knew that I was going to only have pourable. So I have tomato basil. I have a broccoli cheddar. I did some egg drop soups. Let's see, what other kinds of soup? I did a chicken nochi soup, and I also did a cabbage beef soup. And what I do is I just blend them to almost puree. Well, they turn into puree, and I add broth to it. And, you know, I'm blessed in the fact that a friend of mine that lives not too far from me brought me some amazing turkey broth one day and some chocolate ice cream, and I can eat ice cream. And so I've been surviving every day on smoothies, soup, and then I made some custard, and it was really good, actually. And it has fresh eggs and fresh milk and a little bit of sugar. And so I've had that a couple times today. I blended up, like I said, some oatmeal this morning, and but a lot of smoothies and different drinks, trying to at least blend up a banana every day with either some different protein drinks. But I will be honest with you, since I've come home from the hospital, I think I've lost almost another 10 pounds. So I've lost about 42 pounds now since this all began in January. That's when I began to lose weight. So here we are in May. And yes, I did want to lose weight this year, but not this way. And I know that once I can start eating, I will gain back some of that weight. And the most exciting part about all this is I'm actually swallowing. I have not regurgitated once or thrown up once since the surgery, which is amazing. I went from every single solitary day throwing up to not once since that surgery. So it's working. I go in next Tuesday for my follow-up with the surgeon, And I'm still like restricted on trying not to carry anything over 10 pounds, which I've been really trying to work on hard. I'm very strong, so I don't always know what is heavy, but I've been trying to work on that. And I am back up to walking. In fact, I'm out here walking in this beautiful park, Fort Stelicum, and I'm back up to 2 miles, so that's good. And I'm hoping that I can continue just to get stronger and stronger. So that's just been my journey so hard. I would say the most challenging aspects of this whole journey has been, of course, not eating. And you think you'd get used to it after a while, but I haven't. In fact, a couple days ago, I was just really kind of having pity party for myself. And I'm not a pity party kind of person, but it's been hard. And then I will say too, I woke up in horrible heartburn pain, which was shocking 2 nights ago. I don't know what that was all about, but last night I slept so much better, and thankfully no more heartburn. So, I go to a prayer meeting on Wednesday nights, and I will be honest, I was debating whether or not I wanted to go, and I'm really glad I did, because just, sometimes when we're going through hard stuff, and I've said this a lot in different videos I've done on Facebook, but sometimes when we get our eyes off of what we're going through and put our eyes onto somebody else, it really helps. And so last night at prayer meeting, it was just really awesome to be able to pray for some other people that are going through some hard challenges. And, everybody's got hard. And I've said that often. For so many years, I had a son who was 24/7 care. And he lived until he was 20. He passed away almost 2 years ago. And people would always say, I don't know how you could do it, Sue. Well, I'd always say, oh, I don't have a choice. I love Luke. I was going to care for him and take care of him. And so it wasn't like a choice that I had. And but I tell people often, my heart is not your heart, and whatever you have going on in your life that's hard is different. I have a really good friend today that's passing a kidney stone, and that's hard and horrendous pain. And so I've been praying for him all day, and just so many different people have hard stuff going on right now. But this is the thing. I found that today I got up, and after having a great sleep last night, my daughter introduced me to some new songs, and I was just worshiping out in my kitchen, just dancing, and once again, not looking forward to a day of liquids, but you know what? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and that's my motto in life. So I hope that if you have questions, if you're coming up on your surgery, feel free to ask. I didn't know who to ask. It was a lot of the unknown, but we can get through this together. Well, I can, because I really lean on my Jesus Christ. He's my comforter, and I trust him. And that's just something that has really helped me through this journey. So God bless y'all, and I'm going to keep it real with you, and I'll let you know once I'm past some of this healing process and I can start eating again. I can start eating soft food next Monday, and I am literally counting the days. So, okay, we'll check out with you now. Keep it real. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.